And we'll go ahead and get started. So your choice whether you lie down or sit up to do breath awareness. I'm going to stay seated up. So any comfortable position. Take a few moments to kind of root down through your body into whatever's beneath it. Eyes open or closed, whichever you prefer. Just take a moment to feel yourself here, present on your mat. Just really allowing yourself the treat of just being here for now. Letting go of your day, letting go of tomorrow, and just practicing being here right now. Notice what sensations are present in your body. Things like temperature, tension. If you've got an injury, check in with that region of the body. And just like you're noticing all these things, notice that you're breathing. Just feel your body breathing. No need to correct it in any way. Just simply sitting or lying and breathing. Notice what part of the body moves naturally with your breath. It might be that you feel the belly or the chest rising and falling. Or maybe you're noticing more the movement of air going in and out through the nostrils. Hear the sounds about you. We're expanding our field of awareness to include sound as well as the physical sensations of breathing. And then go ahead and add some kind of movement, just whatever interests you, whether it's just tapping a finger or moving your legs or stretching in any way. Again, just expanding your field of awareness to include movement. And of course, there'll be new sensations that are showing up. And there might even be some adjustment to the breathing. And you're here noticing it all. And if you've had the eyes closed, you can add in that sensory input by opening the eyes and just noticing what attracts your attention, color, shape. And if you're lying on the floor, go ahead and make your way towards sitting, whether that's sitting in a chair or sitting on a cushion or blanket. And see if you can maintain awareness even as you transition to sitting. And then we're just taking a few moments to play with some shoulder movements. Feeling the movement, feeling the breath, hearing sounds, noticing sensations. And then moving into some gentle twists. So it's really easy to get on autopilot. So see if you can notice when that happens. And see if you can just bring yourself back to feeling the movement, feeling the sensations, noticing the breath. All right, and make your way onto hands and knees for some of our kitty cat and dog or cow movements of the spine. Noticing all these various sensations in the spine. Noticing which areas have a bit more sensation than others. You can continue with doing cat-cow, or you can always do modified up dog, modified down dog. And then go ahead and make your way to child pose or frog pose, just as a resting pose. And also I always like child pose because it kind of forces the breath to expand through the side ribs and the back ribs. See if you can feel that. And then expanding out of that nice little cozy pose. And let's take the right foot forward. Here you can put your hands on blocks on either side of that foot, and or you can put a blanket under that left knee, or you can straighten that left leg. Always lots of choices about how to express this pose. And just a couple stretches for the psoas, just moving the pelvis forward and back. And pay attention to sensations, so you're modifying your movement so that none of these sensations are greater than a 3 or a 4 out of 10. Remember the psoas, which is the hip flexor that we're kind of stretching here, it's all about fight or flight, which I'm sure is stimulated, overstimulated for all of us these days. So if we move quickly or intensely, it's just going to tighten up even more. So you just kind of want to melt forward and soften back. And when you're finished playing with this, at the extended forward part of their pose, we can add a twist. So I'm just placing my left hand so it ends up right underneath my left shoulder, and then taking the right arm part way up or as far up as you like as you twist towards the right. Take some nice deep breaths here. As usual, always taking your time coming out of a twist. And we'll just swap it out for the other side. So even taking that leg forward is a part of yoga. It's an opportunity to experience new sensations perhaps, or thoughts about what it feels like to do that. Anticipations, there's even new sounds moving around. And just see how this side feels compared to the other. And it's always a good idea to be interested in exploring your edges. If you've had a rough day, you might be practicing compassion by being really soft with exploring those edges. Just give it a try and see how the body responds, or the breath. And if it's definitely not for you, then you just ease away from that edge. And then there's the twist, that's the way. Breathe. Make sure you're taking it nice and easy when you come out of the twist. Bring that front leg back and ease back into child pose. All right, and now we're going to make our way all the way to standing. Your choice how you get there. You could sneak in a little down dog if you want. Forward fold if you want. Once you're up, we can just make some hip swivels. So some modifications that we can make with sun salutation and moon salutation could involve using a chair. So if you feel like you might want to play or experiment with that tonight, make sure you've got a chair close by. And we'll start with the sun salutation, which is like a sun. It's kind of heating, invigorating, but it doesn't have to be like that. You can go in and out of a pose, or you can skip a pose. So you're always adapting it to yourself. It's like we're all going to a potluck, and we don't all have to have the same food or the same portions. It's whatever looks interesting to you. Trust your body. So for a sun salutation, I'm going to start towards the back of my mat and just take a few moments to root down through your feet. I'm sitting back on my heels a bit and lifting up my toes and spreading them. And you should feel how that activates the arch of the feet. So all our standing poses should have that activation of the arches of the feet. And you might even feel some abdominal muscles engaging as well, because it's not just about the arches of the feet. It gets the dome in the knees, the pelvic floor, the diaphragm, the crown of the roof of the mouth, and the crown of the head. They all lift up. So when you lower those toes, see if you can still feel that lift. And then from that, let's lift the arms up, either from the sides and up or forward and up. If you've got something going on with the shoulder, it's quite acceptable to just use one arm or half an arm. So it's just feeling the movement in the shoulder joint. Mountain pose. Still feel the domes lifting in the soles of the feet. Even the palms of the hands are active here. And then soften at the knees and swan dive into a forward fold. Quite a deep knee bend so your belly comes to rest on your thighs, and then release the weight of the head. And just take a few breaths here. So I realize that this increases the pressure to the brain. So if you have sinus things going on, eye pressure things going on, high blood pressure, any of those kind of things, you probably wouldn't stay here for a long period of time. You can go in and out of this pose. So this is our forward fold. One more breath in here. And as you exhale, lift your chest away from the legs and straighten the legs. And this is sort of like a jackknife or a standing variation of down dog. So you want that neutral spine, shoulders rolled down away from the ears, and let's extend the arms back behind us, just at hip level. Straight arms, straight through the elbows, long belly. Good. You feel the backs of those upper arms working? That's what I like this one for. One more nice big breath in here. And then with the exhale, we'll make our way down to plank. So those of you who are using a chair, if you want, or the edge of a bed, you could put your hands on the seat of the chair or the back rest of the chair. You could also use a wall. Otherwise, we're making our way all the way down to plank. You could be on your toes or on your knees for plank. And then lower your pelvis down. Try to have a straight line for your spine. Glutes are working here, hamstrings are working, and of course the belly is lifting. Strengthening. And then when you're ready, try to go as slow as you can all the way down to the floor. When I first started doing this, I would go down part way and then I would fall. Here.
Oh, good.
But over time of practicing that, I've been able to build up enough strength to control my descent to the floor. It's something you can practice every day doing that. And then we're going to move into a little back bend. It might be cobra up on the hands, or you could come up onto the elbows and do Sphinx pose. In either case, the belly is lifting. Toenails are on the floor, but kneecaps are lifting. Of course, those glutes are working. So here's another place where you have a choice. You could move from here up onto hands and knees and full down dog, or you can go into modified down dog. Breathe in as you press down into your hands, and exhale into modified down dog or full down dog. And here, just focus on spreading your fingers, feeling the palms of the hands lifting away from the floor. So you can feel a dome there. And lengthen the spine. And the tailbone is lifting. Take a couple more deep breaths here. And then if you're a modified down dog, we'll make our way all the way up to standing. If you're in down dog, you could jump lightly forward or just walk the feet forward. And we get into the jackknife forward fold. Shrug the shoulders away. That's the way. One more breath in here. You're doing great. And then with the exhale, bend at the knees, and we're going to roll our tummy onto the thighs. Release the arms and release the weight of the head. 2 deep breaths here. And then we're going to make our way all the way up to mountain. So as we inhale, we lift our belly from the thighs, reach out through the arms, taking them all the way up. Looking up if you like, if that's okay for your neck. Otherwise, looking straight ahead. Rooted down through the feet, feeling the arches of the feet lifting. And then bring your palms together and slowly lower them down to your heart center and gazing down at the tops of your fingertips. Maybe your thumbs are on your chest and you can feel your heart beating beneath it. Good, and then relax the arms down. So that's one glorious sun salutation. Shall we try one more? You feel okay doing that?
Sure.
If not, you can do whatever you like.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. There's a lag for the voice coming all the way down from north of Goldendale. All right. So standing
Yell louder.
the bottom of your mat, rooted through the feet. Nice breath in as we take the arms out to the sides and up like a mountain. In and out with the breath here. And then with the next exhale, bend the knees and swan dive into that nice cool lake. Forward fold, release the weight of the head. With a breath in, straighten the legs into jackknife pose. That's the way, good. And then with your next exhale, we make our way down onto hands and knees and into plank. Good, then take your time lowering yourself to the floor. And then into a little back bend, cobra or sphinx pose. Use those glutes. Lift the belly. And then release. Press into hands and knees to come up away from the floor and into modified down dog or all the way up to full down dog. And then with your next inhale, if you haven't already come to full down dog, you can make your way there and then just walking the feet towards the hands. Coming into jackknife pose. That's the way. Good, and then soften the knees, belly to the thighs. Sometimes it's closer than other times. Release the weight of the head. And then rolling up to standing, all the way up, arms coming up for mountain pose. Reach for that beautiful sun. And then palms together, bringing them down towards your heart center, thumbs resting gently on your chest. Good, and then relax the arms. So maybe that one felt a little bit easier. I like to do things twice. The first time where the body's like, huh, what? The second time there's a little bit of an echo there. It remembers a little bit, and sometimes it's a little smoother. And do you feel warmer? Do you feel like a buzz of energy? If you do, you know you're kind of in the right zone for you. If you've got increased pain or you feel short of breath or uncomfortable in any way, it just means you get to practice finding your zone a little bit more. It's hard for all of us finding the zone because it's a moving target. So let's play with some balance poses and then we'll do a moon salutation. So let's try eagle pose. I saw a beautiful eagle. Oh my gosh, when we went out for a paddle this morning, Saw so many different birds, kingfisher and a heron and an eagle and a bunch of fishermen. So eagle pose, you could always use support. And there's a little slight bend in the knees and a slight bend at the hip creases. I'm going to cross the right leg over left and I'm squeezing my legs into each other. And then my big eagle wings are coming out, crossing left arm, and then squeezing the arms into each other, pressing them into each other, just like the legs are pressing in. Good. So that right foot can be, leave it on the floor or on the big toe or on a block or flexed. And then just be with the breath here. You could add a little bit of a forward fold by reaching your butt back as your head comes forward and down. Observe your body so you know when to finish a pose. Savor the sensations that that pose brings to your body. And then there's always the other side. I'll mention something different that you can try with the arms if you like. I've got the left leg crossed over the right. And so the right arm is going to be on top. And this time, instead of bringing the palms together, I'm going to bring the backs of my arms, my lower arms and wrist together. It's a little bit trickier and it takes muscular effort. So you'll feel things working, especially around your shoulders. I don't know if you can see that, as opposed to just bringing the hands together. It's like the whole forearm, they're touching, pressing into each other. And you can also add little twists, keeping those forearms pressed together. Another option is pressing the elbows away from the body and keeping them pressed. This is really hard to do, this one, and sort of working towards straightening the elbows. Not that we're trying to straighten the elbows, but it's just moving the arms in that direction. Boy, that ought to get those arms going. Bet you forgot all about your legs, though. Woo! Oh my, when you come out of that one, it's like the arms just want to go, wow. It's like winding up a spring. All right, let's do the twist with the wall, the hand to big toe twist. So again, it's quite all right to have support. The leg that's next to the wall is the one we're going to lift, and those of you with any back issues, you're practicing lifting that leg without changing the shape of your back, without hitching and using your low back to move your hips, to move the pelvis. So you can even leave one hand back there and play with just lifting and placing down, lifting and placing down. My ankle is directly below my knee, it's not back. So we're actually lifting the thigh bone up and down. This is strengthening the psoas muscle. This is the psoas muscle's job. But we don't want to use it incorrectly by lifting the hip. So once you've got that, you could place it on a little stool or your block or whatever. Then keeping the pelvis still, just twist the upper back towards the wall. You can put the hands on the wall if you like, or I'm twisting towards my right. I'm putting my left hand on the outside of my right knee. And the left arm can reach towards the wall behind you. look straight ahead or turn your head towards the wall that you're twisting towards, or even look towards the wall behind you. As usual, come out of those twists gently. Looking good, folks, good. Yum. You guys are getting better with where you're putting your cameras so I can actually see you, which is good. It's good for me. All right. Other side. So again, when you're lifting that leg, pelvis stays quiet. So this is really, this is good work for that low back. The waist stays the same length on both sides. Ankles hanging just below the knee. And once you have your stable base, then you can add the twist. When you're twisting, make sure that that lifted knee is not moving towards the wall either. That thigh stays parallel to the wall. Feel a really nice knitted connection between that standing leg and your torso for stability. Nice. Okay, let's take some nice big circles with the hips. The moon salutation has some nice complementary poses to the ones we just did. The sun salutation is all about forward and backward, and it's sort of heating. The moon salutation is about cooling and more sideways movements with these legs, externally rotating them. So we stand in the middle of the mat. And again, if you're using a chair, you'd have the back of the chair facing you and you could hold on to the upper part of the chair, or when we get down lower, you could hold on to the seat part of the chair. So, and the whole practice is, even though we're doing movements that might generate heat, it's to see if you can do, when we put effort into something, it causes heating. Okay, so play with the quality of your effort. And I find this particularly helpful to practice, especially if you're in a hot climate, because it's really important, our attitudes, a lot of our attitudes are heating to the body. So don't be aggressive, don't be in a hurry, go slower, do less. Practice all those things in the moon salutation. And we're going to move at a moon's pace. So it takes, 28 days to make its circle, whereas the sun takes 24 hours. So feel connected through the arches of the feet and all your toes and the heels. We're going to take the arms out to the sides and raise the moon, like we're raising the hands up overhead to mountain pose at about the speed that the moon comes up overhead. So really nice and slow. That's the way. Notice if there's any heating tension through the jaw, the throat, the shoulders. Keep cool. So we're holding that full moon above us. If it's okay for your neck, take a look up at the moon between your hands. And lift your heart a little bit. Good. And then let it relax. Look straight ahead. And we're going to take that moon over to the horizon on the right. Nice little side bend over to the right. Good. Press down into the feet. And with your next in-breath in, come up nice and slowly. And with your next exhale, going over slowly to the left horizon. Good. Press down into the feet and inhale as you come all the way up, taking the full moon right above you again. And then let's relax the arms down, or you can just bring them down part way. Depends on how it's feeling in your shoulders. And we're going to take a big step to the right and spiral your upper legs outward in the hip sockets to feel your glutes engaged there. Bending the arms at the elbows and bending at the knees, coming down into goddess pose. Lots of wonderful energy in the palms of the hands and streaming out through the fingers. That's brighter. Good. Especially those of you who work with your hands. This is really good to just get the energy flowing through. And look at the backs of the wrists and make sure your fingers aren't behind the heels of your hands. It should be flat wrists. Good. Let's do a couple of yoga pec decks here. Bringing the forearms parallel to each other, in and then out, without changing your back at all. That's the way. Good. This is goddess pose, and now we'll move to five-pointed star. Straighten the legs and the arms. And I'm just going to let somebody in. Karen has entered. Okay. Five-pointed star. So the center of your star is your solar plexus. Again, the solar system. You're reaching from there out through the arms, the fingertips. Reaching from the solar plexus out through the crown of the head. And from the solar plexus down through those legs and out through the toes. And then relax the arms down. So we're going to move into triangle. So the right foot pivots out towards the short end of your mat. And then bring the toes of the left foot in so that you're comfortable for triangle pose. And let's just move the pelvis side to side. Triangle happens because you're moving your pelvis. So at some point, we'll just tip the pelvis over the right leg and see how far it goes down. This is really important for the low backs that you don't do a side bend here. And then the right arm, if you've got shoulder tension there, you can just let it hang from that shoulder joint, or you can place it lightly on that right leg. Left arm goes straight out from the shoulder, and make sure the back of that hand isn't behind the shoulder. And depending on your neck, you could look at the thumb on that left hand. If your neck is bothering you or your head's too heavy tonight, you can look down at your right foot. Or you can go back and forth. Triangle pose. You can also go in and out of these poses too. You don't have to stay in it. You can practice moving the pelvis, moving in and out of the pose. On an inhale, press down into the feet to move the pelvis to come up. Relax the arms down. Leaving the right foot where it is, we're going to turn our pelvis and left leg so that we're pointing towards the short end of our mat for pyramid pose. So both hip bones are facing forward. You've got a neutral spine, and we're just tipping the pelvis forward. Make sure your left hip isn't lifting. And there's lots of options here for the hands. You can interlace them and bring the shoulder blades together, or you just reach the straight arms back. Prayer hands at the front or the back of the heart. Excellent. All of you have got a great pyramid pose going on. Now ask yourself if this is benefiting you. And if not, then find a way to make it beneficial. All right, with the breath in, move from the pelvis to come upright. Bend your right knee. We're going to come all the way down to the floor. Although those of you who might not want to come all the way down to the floor, you're using your chair and just coming down part way. And I'll lead you from that in just a second. But otherwise, we're coming down into low lunge, like what we started off with, low lunge. So left knee could be on the floor or not. Take a few breaths here to settle, and some of you might want to try crescent lunge when you're here. So once you feel like you have a nice stable base, you could start by just bringing your hands onto that forward knee and see how that feels. If you still feel yummy there, then you can float one arm up or both. Nice, nicely done. Soften any tension around the jaw, the neck, the shoulders. Hands back down to that forward knee if you're coming all the way down. And we're moving into a half squat. So keeping the left leg straight. And here you have a couple of choices. You could sit on a chair to do this part and just have your left leg sticking out. You could sit on your bolster or blocks. Another option, because that's a lot of compression in that right knee, is to just put that right knee on your blanket right beneath your hip and then have the left leg out straight. This is called gate pose. And then you can also add a side bend to that one if you like. Or I was going to say you could play with balance in the half squat. That was great, Lori.
Couldn't do it.
Good. Everybody keeping their cool?
You look wonderful.
That's good. You can just enjoy that too if you like. I don't know about you guys, but I can watch a bird fly or watch somebody kiteboarding, and I can imagine really quite clearly what it feels like. So then we come into a full squat. You can sit in a bolster or a little footstool or a chair. And you're just taking the knees wide. That's all that we're doing. Taking the knees wide and then tipping the torso forward. I like to put my hands into prayer and then lower the heels of the hands and my elbows press into my knees that open my knees a little bit wider. Let's just close the eyes here. See if you can make your breath just a little deeper. And those of you who know you have lower back issues, psoas, tightness or whatever, see if you can soften there a little bit in the groin creases. Just finding, and it might be easier if you're actually sitting on something. And we're just going to repeat those poses on the other side. So I'm going to demonstrate sitting here doing that half squat pose. So I'm going to move my bolster over to the left side of my mat. And I'm just going to stretch my right leg out. Kneecap and toes are facing the ceiling. I'm going to practice my balance pose here. Kind of hard with that knee in the way. But it's the same stretch, right? Just supporting myself instead of, using all that extra energy. You could add a side bend here. It's very similar to gate pose.
You're outside, Sunshine. Where are you outside?
Good.
What's he doing? Doing the other leg, I guess.
Pivoting around to low lunge. So pivoting around, my left leg is forward.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Hands could be on the wall or on the seat of your chair. Right leg could be straight or knee on the floor. Crescent lunge for those of you who want. Crescent lunge can also be done on the knee, walking your hands up a wall and then taking them off the wall. Relax the jaw, shoulders. Our next journey is making our way to pyramid pose. So left leg is forward. Legs are straight. Tipping the pelvis forward. So there's a feeling of your kneecaps lifting here. Move from the pelvis to come upright and reposition that right foot for triangle. Triangle over the left leg. Some side to side. Tip the pelvis over. It's quite all right to allow this right hip to come forward a little bit. Either gazing down at your left foot or up towards the sky. Lovely. From here, on a breath in, press down into your feet and move the pelvis to come up to 5-pointed star. So you're adjusting the feet, legs are turned out. Those of you who have your arms bent at the elbows, see what happens if you lower your arms and see if you can find straight elbows, straight arms. Yeah. Then just experiment with taking one arm up. Keep it soft in that shoulder and don't go up to the point where you have to bend your elbow. That's the way. And then lower it and then try it on the other arm. And then you can sneak in trying both arms a little bit and then release it all. Good, make some shoulder circles and then we'll move into goddess pose. So bending the knees out to the sides, press the knees towards the wall behind you. So you're kind of on the outside edges of your feet. So you're gonna have to use muscles to do that. And then you can have the arms stationary and again, bring your elbows down. So the neck and the shoulders and the jaw are all relaxed. And then you can play with sneaking one up and really paying attention to what's happening in that shoulder. Keep it relaxed. And you'll find that you're going to have to work different muscles than you usually use to lift that arm up. And they'll slowly get stronger and then you won't have to, the workload is moved to a different place that needed more strengthening. Now here you can either jump the feet together or just step the feet together and take the arms up overhead for mountain pose. And again, with the bent elbows, just play with how far you bring that arm up. As soon as you feel like you want to bend the elbow, that's because your shoulder is tight. So go ahead and really bend the elbow and then just lift half an arm up. And sure, give that other arm the same opportunity. It's just about retraining the neuromuscular tract there. Then we're going to take the moon over to the right, or pardon me, over to the left horizon. Nice little side bend. And then lift that moon all the way up and over to the other horizon. Good, press down into the feet to lift that moon all the way back up overhead. Look up at it. And then reach out, actively reach out through those arms as you're lowering them. all the way back down. And then just let the arms hang. You can close your eyes if you like, and just take in what's happening in your body right now. Yoga is, the word yoga means to yoke, to join together the mind and the body. So yoga practice is like learning communication, a married couple learning how to communicate. And, you know, so when we pause like this after doing a series of poses, try to be a good listener and see if there's any takeaways that you can remember to practice for the rest of our time here on our mat. Any, you know, if you feel overheated, then you're going to take it a little bit more easy. If you feel tired, you're going to practice doing a little less as well. And certainly if you're uncomfortable in any way, you're going to find a way to do a little less. So that at the end of your communication, body and mind, there's peace. If we can do it here on our mat, then we can do it with our partner, we can do it in our community, we can do it in our state, and so on. All right. Anybody have a suggestion for one last standing up pose? If not, it's going to be my twist.
Annie's pose.
Annie's pose. Thank you. Perfect. So taking, it's the base of it is either a warrior one or a crescent lunge. Crescent lunge just means the back heel is off the floor and you're making sure that your femur, your top of your thigh bone, is straight in the joint, that it's not turned out at all. Warrior one, the heel's on the floor. So once you have your nice base, then we'll float the arms up. Just let them float up. Very nice. Good. Then press your heart forward. Like, you know, I'm moving my heart so it's almost over my knee, my front knee. And then I'm going to turn my heart towards the ceiling. My neck is the same shape as it was. So I'm not letting my head hang back. And then slowly taking your arms out like you're giving the whole universe a big hug. Keep pressing your heart, lifting through your heart, and breathe. If your head's getting heavy, you can interlace the fingers at the base of your skull and just have the elbows pressing out. That's quite lovely too. Make sure your belly muscles are supporting your low back. Coming up carefully whenever you like. Good. Bringing the back foot forward. And let's just do a little mini forward fold. So I'm just bending my knees and just rounding the spine. Just feel your way, whatever feels good in your back. And then we'll make our way back up and try Annie's pose on the other side. Also known as angel wings. Set your base. So the trick for those low backs is that the back bend is shared throughout your whole spine, and most of us are tight in the upper back. So that's where that heart coming forward is already going to set you up for a nice little back bend. So you're taking the heart forward and lifting it so you're not compressing in the low back. And just bringing the head back a little bit, but it's supported all the way from that right heel. Nice gentle arc all the way up. And you can add the arms if you like, or just be working with the weight of the head. Actively reach through the arms. They become much lighter because you have more muscles working. Bringing the head up, releasing the arms, Bringing the back foot forward. And then if you want, you can round your back or just make your way down onto your belly. And we'll do a couple of back strengthening. You might want to do a child pose before you move into that, or some cat-cow.
What are people doing?
And once you're on your belly, we'll do the old standby, the locust pose. That's really a good strengthening. So it's not a deep back bend, it's more of a strengthening of the muscles. So you've got your chin on your mat. Remember, you can always do this on the wall, those of you who aren't comfortable getting all the way down onto your belly. So your chin's on your mat. Lift your chin and take your gaze right to where your chin had touched your mat. And for some of you, that's enough. Just lifting that 35-pound head is enough of a workout for your back muscles. Otherwise, you can make sure your belly muscles are toned and squeeze the glutes together a little bit and float your toenails and your kneecaps off the mat just a little bit. If you're still okay, you can lift one arm and stretch it towards the wall behind you, and or the other arm as well. And just breathe here, all that lift. Keep the belly toned, keep the glutes working. Hamstrings are also working. And when you're ready to touch down, turn the palms up, turn your head to one side, and just notice all the muscles that let go. So you should definitely notice your belly muscles softening, glutes. And let's just do that one again. When you're ready, chin comes around, lift the chin, look straight down at your mat and feel the glutes working. Hamstrings as they lift the toes and kneecaps. Stretch the arms towards the wall behind you, belly muscles lifting. You can also take the arms out to the sides like an airplane. And when you're finished with this one, you can turn your head to the other side, palms up, or you can make your way to child pose. All right. If there's any other pose you'd like to do before Shavasana, sense in your body, is there one more thing that needs some attention? You could do another back bend that might be nice as an easy bridge. A back bend is legs up the wall is also considered a back bend. So you could do that and just stay in that for Shavasana. You could do a lying down twist. Your choice. Which one appeals to you?
Sunshine, no. No, no.
It's nice to put a bolster under the knees if that low back's been bothering you, or put your calf muscles up on a chair. And as you stretch yourself out for your Shavasana, just take some time to let your body melt into the support. Shoulders, arms. The floor, hold the full weight of your head. Soften the rib cage and the belly and all the muscles of the back. Take the legs out a little wider than hip width and just kind of rock them a little bit side to side.
Sunshine, lie down.
And then just let them rest, kind of flopped open to the sides a bit. Eyes open or closed, whichever you prefer. And then just rest your mind on hearing sounds.
Sounds like no. No.
And notice various sensations in the body. Notice the body breathing. Feeling the belly and the chest rising and falling. Each exhale, just letting go, melting a little deeper. Bring your hands so that one hand is on your heart and the other hand on your belly. Just feeling that breath coming and going. All the muscles of the back nice and warm and relaxed and soft. Now 3 deeper, intentionally deeper breaths. Really fill up those lungs. Letting it all go. 2 more. And then wiggling the toes or stretching in any way that you like. Those of you who just want to stay here for longer, feel free to do that. Making your way to sitting if you're got things to do this evening, dinner, walk, play with the dog, whatever. Maybe take a breath or 2 lying on your side before you make your way to sitting. And just enjoy a moment or 2 sitting, and I'm just going to stop my recording here so that we can chat. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for gathering together to practice some yoga tonight. Namaste.
Stay.